Alright, welcome to the Symbols and Funky Functions lesson. In this lesson, we're going to be going over all those strange functions that you see on the SAT. If you've worked at the college or in the College Board Blue Book at all, you've seen these questions where there's stars, triangles, exclamation points, and these are usually in the place of, your normal functions where you have f of x equals or g of x equals. So just to give you an idea of what type of problems we're talking about, a star b equals a plus b plus ab, and they want to know what is the value of 3 star 2. So I'm not going to do this problem, I just want to give you an idea of what types of problems we're dealing with here. So before you can even get something like this right, you got to know that these problems are basically plug and chug problems. What does that mean? Well, you're just plugging in a number and you're figuring out what that's equal to. You're evaluating. So let's take a look at situation 1 here when you've got one variable. Okay, so we've got this expression, exclamation point x, and they're telling you that that's equal to 4x plus 1. And they want you to evaluate what is exclamation point 2. Well, all you're going to do is, anytime you see an x, you're going to plug in 2. That's 4 times 2 plus 1, which gives you 8 plus 1, or 9. So that's all you're doing. You're plugging in. The x is to the right of the exclamation point. The 2 is to the right of the exclamation point. You're just plugging in. Let's take a look at another one. Okay, so now we have star g star is g plus g squared. What if I asked you to tell me what star 3 star was? Well, again, plug and chug. So every time you see a g, you're going to plug in 3. So that's going to be 3 plus 3 squared, which gives you 3 plus 9, which is 12. Okay, two kind of easy scenarios. Let's make it a little bit harder. I'm going to move this up here. Okay, so now we have this other weird one. Triangle, triangle, y, triangle, triangle is equal to y plus 2 over 6. And again, we're not multiplying anything here. This is just your function. It's telling you when you see y, you're going to add 2 and divide by 6. So now they want to know what is triangle, triangle, f, triangle, triangle, and they're telling you that's equal to 2. And wants to know what is f. Well, what makes this a little harder is that what we're used to is if I just gave you this expression, you would just plug in 5 for y, right? You know it's in the middle of all the triangles there. You just put 5 in for y. 5 plus 2 is 7, and you get 7/6. Well, now we're plugging in a variable for a variable. So we're going to plug in f. Okay? So anytime we see y, we're going to plug in f. f plus 2 divided by 6. And it said after I do the plugging in, it's equal to 2, right? So I can set it equal to 2. I'm going to put this over 1 so we know we can cross multiply so it looks easier. 2 times 6 is 12 equals f plus 2. I'll subtract the 2 from both sides and you get 10 is equal to f. So I wanted to show you this one. Let me just move it up just a little bit. I'm sure you can still see it. It's the whole idea that even though there's a variable here, you can still plug in this variable for another one. So don't get freaked out by that. Just kind of plug it in and work everything else out. Okay, so this was the first scenario when we have one variable. Let's get a little harder now. Just give me a second to set up my page here. We have situation number 2. So now we're going to be dealing with two variables. So now I have this expression here, x $signs y gives me x squared plus y squared. What if I wanted you to evaluate 3 $signs 1? Well, your 3 is in the same spot as the x, so I can do on test day, just to organize my information, we know x equals 3, and what does y equal? Y equals 1, right? They're in the same spot. So that's going to be 3 squared plus 1 squared. That gives you 9 plus 1, which is 10. So a good thing to do when you get a bunch of variables, you can write what you know on the side of the page just to keep everything organized. Let's do a harder problem, harder situation. Alright, so we have C up arrow D equals CD over 2, and A down arrow B is A plus B over 2. And in the problem they want to know what is 8 down arrow 2 up arrow 4. So So now we have a couple of things going on. So you can pause the video if you want. You can try this problem out at home. I'm going to go into the explanation right now. Best thing you can do, always evaluate what's in the parentheses first. So we're looking at 8 down arrow 2. That's this function right here. So we can write it over 8 down arrow, or excuse me, A down arrow B, and I'll write 8 down arrow 2. And it's pretty easy to see what my A and what my B values are, right? So I can write down next to it A equals 8. We know B equals 2. So let's evaluate that. That's going to be 8 plus 2 all over 2, which is equal to 10 divided by 2. So that's 5. So now we just figured out that 8 down arrow 2 gives you 5. So we can cross that out, and we can put a 5 there. So what are we evaluating now? We're looking at 5 up arrow 4. Well, where are we going to go for the up arrow operation? We're going to this one. So I can write these over again just to make sure I have my info right, or correct. C up arrow D, and I'm looking at 5 up arrow 4. So I know my C is 5 and my D is 4. Let's plug in. So now we're going to do CD over 2, which is equal to C times D, 5 times 4, all over 2, which gives me 20 over 2, which gives me 10. So 10 is your final answer. And I showed you this problem because it's the whole idea that you might get on test day a function and then there's another one next to it, and you kind of have two things going on here. Always do the thing in the parentheses first, then worry about the rest of it. Okay, finally, situation number 3, and this is probably the hardest one. It's when you're plugging in a variable for a variable, and we kind of did this before, but this is a harder situation. So let's take a look. It says A star equals A squared plus 4A. And then it says if Y star equals Y plus 2 star, what is the value of Y? So again, you can pause the video, attempt this on your own. I'm going to go into the explanation. So normally, if you wanted to make this, let's say we wanted to make this really easy. And I ask you, what the heck is 3 star? Well, you just plug in 3 for A, right? So that'd be 3 squared plus 4 times 3. So you get 3 squared plus 4 times 3, or 9 plus 12, 21. That would be the easy way to do it, or that's the the old way. But now we have variables, so we got to plug in a variable for a variable. Okay, so let's plug in. That's going to be y squared plus 4y is equal to, and I can plug this whole expression in for a. It's to the left of the star, right? To the left of the star. So this whole thing equals a. So we have to do y plus 2 squared plus 4 times y plus 2. Plugging in y plus 2 for a. Alright, so let's simplify. Y squared plus 4y equals, for the sake of time, actually let me just move this up a little bit. For the sake of time, I'm not going to expand this out. You're just going to have to trust me that y plus 2 squared is y squared plus 4 plus, excuse me, y squared plus 4y plus 4. That's when you FOIL that out. Plus 4 times y is 4y. 4 times 2 is 8. I just distributed that. Okay, let's see what crosses out. Y squared, you got a y squared there. You got a 4y here. You got a 4y there. What's left? 0 equals 4 plus 8, 12 plus 4y. Let me move this up just to create some room here. Okay, I can minus the 12, and you get 4y is equal to negative 12. Divide by 4, y equals negative 3. Okay, so the whole point of this problem is that you should be able to, don't get intimidated that this is y plus 2 here. Alright, that's still going to be your a value. So you're going to plug this whole thing into your formula or your equation here. So that's what symbols questions are about. If you had some problems with these, definitely check out some of my other videos. I'm sure I'm going to do some practice problems.